Hey guys, and welcome to Let's Play EarthBound on the Super Nintendo. So this game is actually the second game in the Mother series, in case you didn't know. However, since we didn't get Mother 1 or Mother 3 over here in the States, it's just known as EarthBound. It would be kind of weird to release it as Mother 2 without ever seeing the first one, right? So this is a fun little RPG. It's, I hesitate to say quirky, because that kind of has negative connotations among some people, but if you want to describe it that way, you could. It's definitely got a great sense of humor and doesn't take itself seriously. This opening screen is kind of an example of that just a little bit, but it's a fun experience. If you've never played it before, I think you're in for a real treat. EarthBound's one of my favorite games, so hopefully it becomes one of your favorite games as well. There's our intro. Nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and get things started here. We've got my completed file here, level 77. That is quite a lot of levels. It's a somewhat lengthy game. I mean, it is an RPG, so we're going to be in here for the long haul. So I got a couple options there. Obviously, fast text speed, stereo sound. We've also got all these different flavors of window, and I personally just prefer the plain. None of the rest of them really do much for me. Now we get to name our characters before we start. Of course, our first character is Ness. Should be pretty recognizable. The first place a lot of people probably heard about Ness was in Super Smash Bros. You know, you probably, there's a good chance you might have seen him there before you saw him in EarthBound. But we've also got, you know, there's some other default names we can cycle through, but I'll just be using the first default one, the canonical one, I guess. And we got some more characters. We got Paula here. Next up is going to be Jeff. And our final character, Pooh. And then we get to name a couple other things. These are slightly less consequential. We get to name our dog, though, so some pretty interesting default names. Peach, Sparky. There's a really weird, Baby. Like, does anyone actually name their dog Baby? That's so weird. Okay, well, we'll just go with the default of King. This doesn't matter so much. We're not going to see a whole lot of King. And our favorite homemade food. You know, there's some interesting choices here. Not many that, like, a kid would pick as a favorite homemade food. But, let's see. I think we will go with... Let's go with cake. Why not? And our favorite thing. In case you don't know, we actually get an attack named after this. So you have a few default choices. Love is actually the default in Mother 3. So, you know, if you want to use it here, get a little continuation going. Gifts, that's kind of selfish. Gaming is pretty cool, but we'll stick with the default of Rockin'. You know, gotta admit, Rockin' is pretty awesome as well. Okay, so that finishes our selection. Let's go ahead and confirm it, and we'll get going. Okay, and that's how we start off. We are awoken from our sleep by some really loud impact outside, and of course we have to go see what's going on. So, got our menu here. We can open up with A. It's kind of old school RPG almost, like even older school than this is now, I guess. You know, harkening back to the text-based days like talk to and check and stuff like that, so it's kind of neat. You don't really have to use it though. You can also press L and it will kind of do whatever the appropriate action is, so that's what we'll be doing most of the time. However, that menu is still, of course, useful for checking out your items and equipment and stuff. So let's head out. This is our sister Tracy. So we're not going to be seeing too much of her in the game, but she will play a somewhat minor role in it. You can also pick up the gift in her room, just steal her stuff. There's a cracked bat inside. It's our first piece of equipment, but we'll take care of all that later. We don't need to worry about it right now. You can also hear police sirens in the background, so obviously something pretty big is going down. There's our mom. If we talk to her, she will make us change out of our pajamas into our regular clothes, so we'll ignore her and just walk around in our jammies for a while. We got King here as well. And he doesn't seem to be perturbed by this at all. So outside we go. There's not too much to see around here. This is pretty much just introductory stuff. I mean, there's no battles or anything to worry about. Got a lot of people to talk to, and if this is your first time playing, I would definitely recommend it, because there's a lot of humorous dialogue. People are taking this meteorite situation too seriously. I think this guy here has a pretty good one. Yeah, the Onett police are infamous for closing roads if something's going on. They're going for the world record, in fact. So, you know, lots of lighthearted dialogue like this, and it makes for a pretty funny experience if it's your first time. And this guy's, of course, a little bit freaked out, just wants to go home. Yeah, and this guy wants to be the first to see the meteorite, and he's going to try to be the first to get there, but he never actually leaves that spot. So, a little bit of humor you got to pick up on for yourself. And of course, various other people around we can talk to, mostly cops on the way up here. They'll just tell us we need to go home, nothing too worthwhile. You mentioned the sharks running around in town. Obviously, we'll be dealing with them later. Nope, we still got to go anyway. I mean, we could just go home and not care, but that would be kind of a boring game, right? Okay, so while we're on the path up here, not too much is going to be happening. I guess we can talk about some LP-related stuff, video-related stuff. I'm not going to really worry too much about getting, like, quote-unquote 100%. Like, I'm not going to get every single item. I mean, I'll pick up what I see, but not really worried about that. I'm not worried about getting every single little piece of dialogue and all that. So, basically, you know, I'm going to do what I can, do what I think of, and do what I remember, but I'm not going to worry about it too overly much. And this guy says he was fine because he always eats garlic. I guess that's the secret. I didn't even know. Whoop. Almost told you about, okay, I'm not sure what you're hiding, man. Oh, so his real job, he's a billboard guy. All right. Well, I guess we can humor him. Let's check it out. His name is Liar Exaggerate, so his mother knew what he was going to be, even before he was born, so, oh well. I guess with a name like that, you're kind of screwed in life, I think, a little bit. Alright, so this is as far as we can go. You can see the road's blocked off. You can catch just a little glimpse of the meteor up there. There we go, in the top left of the screen there. Got a couple people hovering around it. I'm also trapped. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and talk to this kid. Yep, so this is Pokey, and he says tomorrow he's going to tell us more about the meteorite, and that's basically all we can do. Clear out of way out, get my. I don't think that's what you meant. Yep, there you go. And he's just so in panic from this whole thing that he's messing up all his words. No, not really. Come on, help me out. Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing really we can do. We've done just about all there is. Okay, so, well, unfortunately, we can't really get any better access to the meteorite, and that's about as good as we can do, so I guess we'll just have to return home and maybe hear something a little bit more tomorrow about it. Yeah, so it's a bit of a walk on the way back. Like I said, this is still just introductory stuff, no random battles, no, anything to worry about. We're just gonna head back home. It's also kind of fun to walk around in your pajamas. Something a lot of people probably might not have known about, because, it's pretty instinctual to talk to everyone in your house first, but we can do it this way as well. So, of course, Mom says, it's alright, we don't have to talk about it, scoot off to bed. That sounds good. And woken up yet again by another sound. He's gonna be pretty cranky in the morning. I know I would be waking up this much in the middle of the night. Yeah, you're telling me. That's exactly what I was thinking. There's one knock in particular that's really annoying. I actually don't think he's done it yet. But... Oh, that's the one. It just gets so loud. Well, alright. Yeah, King, he's a little bit lazy. tell you, perfect music for Poki's introduction here. Nope. Okay, dude, it's not that. What's going on? Just tell me what's going on. So the police that were guarding the meteorite left to deal with the sharks, the local ruffians. And Picky was gone. Picky is his younger brother. Well, we'll do it for him, but not for you. And of course, saying we should talk to our mom. So let's go ahead and do that. And she's going to give us a couple pieces of advice. First, we can take King along. Also about the cracked bat in Tracy's room, which of course we've already gotten. Also going to give us a little bit of a pep talk, which I kind of like this next line. Remember to go for it. It's just so generic, but it sounds so inspiring, you know? And of course, now we're going to finally change out of our jammies into slightly more recognizable attire. That striped shirt, that red cap. Yep, that's definitely us. Okay, so we are just about ready to start heading out. We're still kind of in a tutorial section, I guess, for now, but it's going to pick up just a little bit here. And Tracy's also going to give us a cookie, which we might as well take. Cookies are kind of worthless. She's also going to talk about being able to store items, which we don't need to do at this point. So we can check out our goods here. You can see we start with the ATM card. That's a key item that you're going to have to keep. And of course, the cracked bat we picked up, the bread roll we got along the way, and the cookie. And the cool thing about this is if you don't know exactly what an item does, you can highlight it, select it, and then click Help. And it'll give you a nice specific description. You recover about 6 HP. It's a little bit variable. The healing items, like the bread roll, for example, recovers about 30, but it'll kind of fluctuate back and forth. I guess a little bit of a random factor involved. Also got a couple other things, but we'll check those out in a little bit. Go ahead and talk to Mom again. Okay. Not sure what warranted that, but I guess we can talk to King. He's going to ask if we want him to go with us. We do. And it's worth taking King along. He's not, like, super useful, but, you know, he can help out every now and then, so it's worth grabbing. Also go ahead and talk to Pokey again. He's going to give us some game-type advice. He only says this little piece of dialogue if you haven't equipped the weapon. But, yeah, I already know what it means. It's weird because he's being all nice and helpful and polite. It's just not Pokey. Now Pokey joins our party as well. Okay, so we got these two following along. Nice little train here. Now, even though they are in our party, we can't really do anything with them directly. They're just kind of tailing along with us. This will happen every now and then throughout the game, so they'll just kind of do things on their own. We can also check out our equipment. He mentioned we might want to equip the cracked bat, which we are going to do. You can see it raises our offense from 2 to 6. While we're here, we can check out our status as well. Some of these are self-explanatory. Offense, defense, speed, you should figure out. Guts basically determines your critical hit chance, as well as sometimes your ability to withstand mortal damage with 1 HP. It's not something I hope to be relying on a lot, but it is nice to have a good gut stat just in case. Vitality determines how much health you get at a level up. Your health tends to be about 15 times your vitality. You can see that's the case now. IQ is the same thing as vitality except for our psychic points. And luck basically goes towards all things randomly generated. So any type of dice rolls, and it's not a very concrete stat, but you know, like all stats, worth raising up all the same. Well, okay, before we leave, one more thing to take care of. We get the phone's ringing. And it's our dad. So he's going to call us, give us a little bit of advice, some more inspirational stuff. Everyone just seems to know that we're going on some big adventure. You know, like we're just looking for Picky. It's not that big of a deal, right? So our dad serves a couple functions. He mentions how much money he deposits in our bank account, and he also lets us save our progress. He's going to mention our ATM card. We'll get to that in a little bit. Don't really have any use for it right now. So now we can finally leave and get on our way. 15 minutes in and we're about to get into some action. It is an RPG, you know, they have to set it up a little bit. Alright, so you might see that snake down at the bottom left of the screen. The world is actually populated with enemies now. Battles in this game are not random. You can see them all in the field, so let's go ahead and run into it. And this will be a good first battle for us. Okay, so let's take a look at the menu here. Bash is basically a regular attack. We can also use PSI powers, of which we have none yet. We can also use our goods. We can defend to minimize the damage from some types of attacks. We can run away. Or we can auto-fight, which will let the computer take care of things for us. Basically, they bash unless they need to heal. So we'll just go ahead and bash this thing. The coil snake is the weakest enemy around here. And you can kind of see how the battles go. The entire thing takes place on the text screen on top. There's no real animations going on in the bottom part. So it may seem like a bit of reading, but you kind of get used to the important information to pick out, and you can go through battles pretty quickly. Also got another type of enemy, and we snuck up on them. Anytime you see that green spiral, that means you get a chance for an opening attack, which is pretty nice. This guy's the Spiteful Crow. He's got a couple attacks. The most annoying thing he can do is actually steal items from you. He'll also dodge quite a lot. So basically we can just mash bash there and take care of everything. Of course, this is the beginning of the game, so it's all super easy. And he also always drops a present. These crows will always drop a cookie for you. And we got enough XP to level up. So here's our stat increases, pretty self-explanatory there. And we also realized the power of Life Up Alpha, which is our first PSI spell. So we can go ahead and check this out. You can see it recovers some HP to one person. It costs 5 PP to use. We've only got 10 right now, so we probably want to be a little bit more sparing with it. And we can continue forward. I'm trying to see if we can find the final enemy type you can encounter around here. So I'm just going to keep going until we do. Man, this is not seeing anything. All right, there's a snake there. One thing you can do in this game is scroll enemies off screen, and you can see that snake is no longer there. There's actually the next enemy type here, so let's go ahead and fight it. And this is the runaway dog, the final enemy type. This is pretty basic. Again, just use bash all the time on it. It's got a decent amount of health, and it can do a decent amount of damage, but it does waste a lot of its turns just barking. And you get a decent amount of experience. Nothing great, though. So those are the different enemy types. It's also worth mentioning this one other thing I'm going to do here. If you notice our inventory, it doesn't scroll at all. You wouldn't be able to tell right now. But once this box is filled up, you can't hold anything else. There's actually a key item we're going to be getting that you can avoid having to carry around for the entire game if you fill up your inventory with cookies from the Spiteful Crows. And the game will still progress normally, even though you do kind of need it. You don't need to carry it around in your inventory. It'll free up that slot, which is actually pretty helpful. So what I'm going to do here real quick is hunt around for these crows, and then I will fill up my inventory with cookies and meet you back after we do that. Oh, here's a crow. Alright, so as you can see, our inventory is now filled up with cookies, as well as a bread roll. I managed to keep it. It usually gets stolen by the crows, but this time managed to hang on to it. So we can also come back to our house at any time and talk to Mom, and she will give us some cake, and chide Pokey for not liking cake, which you think he would, but oh well, too bad. Yep, pretty much. We're gonna have it anyway. And that's basically a way to fully restore your health. It's also worth mentioning that we got a little bit of experience. I mean, level 4 is nothing special, but you can see our health has actually increased quite a bit thanks to that vitality increase, so that's cool. We also actually learned a new PSI spell, which we can't view from here. Let's see, we gotta go, yeah, here. We have Hypnosis Alpha, which will, of course, put enemies to sleep. Not super useful. You won't be seeing it a whole lot, but maybe at some point. Okay, wow, we got snuck up on. Well, there's an example of that. I did not expect there to be a ton of enemies around. Alright, so he gets an opening attack, but we should be able to take him out with no problems. And that's perfect. Okay, so let's see if we can avoid the oh man, there's another one. Well, let's see if we can get through. Nice, using the trees for cover, that works. I got a dog here. Just throwing enemies at me left and right, it seems. This snake here, we should be strong enough to demonstrate this. Yes, if you're much stronger than an enemy, you can actually defeat it in one hit from the field. So that's super helpful to keep you from having to go into battle against the super weak enemies. You can just run into them. You get the experience, which, you know, if you're defeating them automatically, isn't a lot compared to where you are, but you can also get the presents from them, I think, so... You know, it's nice at least. It's more convenient than having to actually fight the battle. And you can see Liar exaggerates here again. Heard a child's voice. Well, we're searching for a child. But when he does a job, he does it well. He's a man's man. Well, alright then. You might be lying and or exaggerating, but I guess we'll just have to see later. Okay, so this time the cops have all cleared out, as Pokey told us. And we can now access the top of the hill. And of course, King is getting freaked out by all this and just goes home. It's a little bit unreliable, but well, you know. You can also check out the meteorite here. Still lots of fires burning here and there. It sounds hot. And of course, Picky is over here by the tree. And we're basically going to get his side of the story here, which is a little bit more believable. Pokey was the one who got scared and ran away, and Picky was the one looking for him. I think I trust him a little bit more than Pokey. Yeah, Picky is really the only likable one in the family. Of course, we'll meet the rest of them in a little bit, but... Hear a buzzing that sounds like a bee. No, I don't hear anything. Oh, well, apparently it's not a bee. It's also talking, and it's also from 10 years in the future. Well, that's kind of unexpected. Well, that kind of got thrust on us all of a sudden, didn't it? Apparently Buzz here came from 10 years in the future where the universal cosmic destroyer Gygus has basically just destroyed everything, so... apparently he thinks we're some chosen boy that's gonna save the world. I mean, it's pretty typical for these types of games, but... And Pokey's also worrying about being one of those three. I'm fairly certain, I think we can bet that you're not. Okay, so yeah, I got a little hint of the adventure that awaits us. We've also got Buzz with us. He's kind of hovering around. We can, of course, hear his buzzing at this point. We can also talk to Liar, exaggerate on the way back. Okay, that's not creepy at all. Alright, I guess we'll do that. Might as well. Of course, we got company now, so we can't quite do it at this moment. So let's head back. I guess we're going to have to drop Pokey and Picky off, and then maybe we can talk with Buzz a little bit more about just what exactly our destiny holds. Sounds intriguing, for sure. I'll say that much. Oh. Wow, what do you know? We got a boss fight. This is some pretty awesome music, too. I haven't mentioned it yet, but the music in this game is just completely fantastic. Music like this, which is really cool sounding, but it can also set a mood when it wants to. I really enjoy it. So we've got the Starman Jr. here. This is basically a scripted fight. I hate to break it to you, but it doesn't really matter what you do. Buzz is using some PSI powers on us. This is PSI Shield Sigma, which will basically deflect psychic attacks, and it affects all of us. There's really no way to die because the only thing the Starman Jr. ever does is psychic attacks, so, you know, we literally can't be hit. And also it has way more health than Ness would be able to manage, so it'll be Buzz's charges that do the majority of the damage. So really we're just kind of tagging along for the moment, but it's pretty cool to see these kinds of, you know, higher end attacks so early in the game. Like, we're gonna be able to do that at some point, which is pretty cool. Alright, So it looks like Buzz finished him off doing 132 damage with that charge, which is pretty great. So, I think he deserved the final blow there. And he's also going to tell us we're going to be fighting enemies sent by Gygas and humans who have evil thoughts, as well as animals due to Gygas' influence in their minds. So, pretty powerful dude we're going up against, wouldn't you say? So let's go ahead and drop off Pokey and Picky first. This is their house right next door. And again, the music, just, it fits them so perfectly. Oh, nope, let's talk. Okay, let's talk to the father. Ooh, that didn't sound pleasant. And of course, he tells us he'd be happy if we left. He's tired of us living next door. We've loaned your father a lot of money. It may have been $100,000 or more. That's quite a lot of money. I guess it really could have been less. It says they live in poverty. Maybe. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of furniture around. It's basically just a sofa, a rug, and a lamp. So, nice guys finish last. That's the story of our life. Like I said, Picky is pretty much the only likable one in this family. Oh, I think Buzz is getting fed up too. Oh. Buzz, you all right, man? Are you? Wait, what? Dude, you like fought that giant. How did you get killed by her smashing you? We just met you, man. You can't go. We got more to talk about. Oh, okay. He's got more to say. This is where he's going to give us the key item, the Sound Stone. This is what I was talking about before. He's going to say we can record the melodies from the Your Sanctuary locations that we're going to be going to. It's an awesome item. And he's going to ask us if we want to repeat the story. And it defaults to yes, which if you're just mashing A, you would accidentally hear the story over again. And he's also going to mention this is the point where we have too many things to carry. So the Sound Stone is actually going to be sent over to our sister. And because of that, we don't have to carry it around in our inventory. So just, a nice little trick there. One inventory slot doesn't sound like much, but believe it or not, it's actually pretty valuable in this game. The inventory system is a bit cluttered, and you have to carry around all your key items and equipment in it as well. So it can, space can get a little bit tight every now and then. Now, we've been out adventuring so long, it looks like day has broken. And we get our nice little background music here as we start our adventure. So now we know what we need to do. Buzz told us that we are going to have to seek out the Your Sanctuary locations. The first one is in Onett, which we're basically on the outskirts of it. So we can start our adventure there. One more thing before we go, as we walk back towards our house. This man just spins down out of the sky and talks about pictures taken instantaneously. This is the photographer. So this guy pops down every now and then at scripted places, and he will tell us to say fuzzy pickles, and then we get our picture taken. He doesn't really serve too much purpose. You will see all of these photos again at some point, but, apart from that, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I've decided as kind of a little sub-goal for this Let's Play, we're actually going to be finding all of the photographer locations. Some of them are somewhat out of the way, so, it might be nice to see all of them. Anyway, we have finished our introductory section. Of course, our next objective is to head down to Onett and find our first Your Sanctuary location. But I think we are going to save that for next time. So, till then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.